re-election polls have Biden at only 22% support. I mean, can I just tell you, that is horrific for a president. And you have to think that for Vice President Kamala Harris, it's even worse at 12%. Let me just explain this to you, Jen, real quick. The first year of your presidency, that's when you have the most political capital. That's when you're able to pass as much legislation as you can, especially when you have both the House and the Senate. You're in charge of all three. Think about that. Legislative branch and the executive branch, the Democrat Party's in charge. And to have President Biden at such a low number, such a low poll number, I'm telling you right now, he won't be able to recover. When Republicans win the midterm elections come next year, I got to tell you, I just don't see how President Biden's going to ever be able to push through any more legislation. He's going to have to rely on his executive authority to make any sort of change.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch that play out. Well, we have a special guest joining us now, Charlie Kirk, the founder and president of Turning Point USA, and the host of the Charlie Kirk Show. Charlie, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. You're a great friend. Congrats on everything, and honored to be here.
Oh, well, we appreciate it. You know, I want to ask you, what do you think about this situation with McConnell? Did he have a chance to knock out Biden and he didn't take it?
Yeah, look, I think it was totally mismanaged. Look, the only power Republicans have right now in the federal government is the tie in the U.S. Senate, 50-50. When are they going to start to use it, Mercy? I totally agree with President Trump that it's time for Republicans to start to play to win. And Joe Biden needs Mitch McConnell right now. Think about that. Joe Biden needs Mitch McConnell to keep the government open. We already know where Joe Biden's approval ratings are, and I wish that Mitch McConnell would understand that Republican voters, they don't want infrastructure packages. They don't want more Biden nominees. They certainly don't want people like Merrick Garland. We don't need more electric vehicle charging stations. We need to hold the line that people are seeing their country fall apart, and the same sort of appeasement and procedural excuses. Enough. Hold the line, make Schumer come to the table, and Joe Biden needs Mitch McConnell to fund the government. And I'm afraid that the Republicans in the Senate, absent Donald Trump, they don't know how to negotiate at all.
Yeah, I do remember when I was at the White House, Charlie, and I mean, you spent a lot of time there as well, that, you know, the president understood this fight. President Trump understood, and it tried to keep explaining this to then Majority Leader McConnell, to say, look, we can pass through effective legislation. But now with McConnell being in the minority, don't you think that basically we saw one GOP aide basically calling this a tactic to protect his own ego? I mean, what do you think what are your thoughts on this rift between Trump and McConnell? I don't think it's new. I think this has been happening for a long time. But do you think finally there's that break?
Yeah, I think there's a serious rift. And look, I think that McConnell's an operator. He's definitely been better than other Senate presidents in the past. But I'll tell you that why wasn't McConnell able to bring up President Trump's infrastructure package the first 2 years of the presidency when the House and the Senate were combined? Why did we never get the southern border wall fully funded? Why were corporate tax rates in the United States Senate prioritized over an actual robust America First self-sufficient agenda? So yeah, look, President Trump and McConnell have always arm wrestled back and forth. President Trump, though, I have to say, he delivered an olive branch. He put Mitch McConnell's wife in the cabinet. He was trying to be magnanimous in the early days of his presidency, but unfortunately, I think that Mitch McConnell placed a bet. He placed a bet, especially in the kind of lame duck period of President Trump's first term, and I think there might be a second term, Mercy, was that I think that there won't be any more Trump in the Republican Party. And I think that was a big mistake, because that's a war on the voters is what that is. And make no mistake, Mitch McConnell was nearly tied in Kentucky until President Trump came, endorsed and did an event, and he skyrocketed and won by double digits.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that Trump endorsement. And, you know, Charlie, Republicans, they really shouldn't be giving any wins to Democrats. And Biden especially, when they get this type of press coverage. I want you to listen to what CNBC's Jim Cramer had to say describing the state of the economy.
To me, we have the strongest economy perhaps I have ever seen. See that number this morning, the unemployment number? It's the best in years.
Your reaction.
Well, Jim Cramer used to be a very reasonable person. I mean, he's talking about using the Marines to execute a vaccination strategy. And now he's saying it's the best economy ever. Look, I mean, I guess in Jim Cramer's world, it's great to be a plutocrat. Yeah, Elon Musk is worth $300 billion. Bezos is worth $200 billion. Have you seen the price of gas? Have you tried to buy lumber? I mean, have you gone to the grocery store? Inflation is at best 10%, at worst nearly 20%. But yes, it's fine if you live in, the Wall Street bubble and all you do is look at inflated price to earning ratio shares and you don't care about middle class wages, job participation, family formation, or the actual underlying metrics of what it means to have a robust country. Under President Trump, the bottom 50% actually made more wage gains than the top 50% or even the top 10%. It was a blue collar boom that happened under President Trump. So look, Jim Cramer, for what he cares about, multi-billionaire globalists that don't care about American sovereignty or our future, I guess they're doing great. It's a wonderful time to be a Goldman Sachs banker. It's a wonderful time to be working for Facebook or Google. I couldn't care less, Jim Cramer. I care about the deplorables, the smelly Walmart people. I care about the people in Missouri and Ohio that are getting crushed by double-digit inflation, wide open borders, and a corporate oligarchy.
Yeah, and they can see right through that mainstream media. Charlie, Kirk, so glad to have you with us tonight. We should do this again soon.
You bet. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Rob Carson here. If you love watching Newsmax, you're really going to love listening to our new podcast. It's called the Newsmax Daily. I host it, and I give you the best briefing of the big news of the day, top newsmaker interviews, and even, yes, a few laughs. I know it's hard to believe. So if you're driving, walking, exercising, just about anywhere, you can connect with the Newsmax Daily with me, Rob Carson. Find our podcast online or go to iPhone, Spotify, iHeart, Stitcher, and more, and start listening today.